Family, today I got a wonderful guest with me. His name's Kelzthagreat. Very excited. He's a wonderful individual. And today I'm going to pick his mind to hopefully offer the family some gems. But before I do that, I do got to go ahead and give credit to those that support me. So let me go ahead and share my screen real quick. Today, I'm being sponsored by this fool, 7 lessons for burros and bag chasers. This fool teaches seven timeless lessons using relatable language in order to unpack practical wisdom and guiding principles. Whether you're a creative in search of guidance, an entrepreneur in search of inspiration, or an educator in search of wisdom, this book has something to offer you. Family, tap in. You guys can go ahead and buy a copy on Amazon or just hit me up in the DMs. But with that being said, Kales, like I said, brother, it's a huge honor for me to have you here. I know that you're very passionate about the crypto space, but I want to hold up a little bit on that. And I do want to say the way that I crossed paths with you, first of all, was by having tapped in with Amir, Chicago Crypto Bully. And I know that you tapped in with the brother. How did you first cross paths with him?
Well, I want to say first, great introduction. You feel me? And man, so before I got into the crypto space, I was involved in learning trust. So I don't know if you're aware of, the trust game and learning to become a secure party creditor. And I was learning that from Brother Truth on Instagram. I ended up subscribing to, his website. And one day, I come across uh, a chart reading video from the bully that was on his page. And during this time, I was learning about gold, silver, land, you know, tangible assets, and crypto just started booming. This was probably, right after the pandemic started, the pandemic. And I end up following him. He let me on his page because his page is private, of course.
Mm.
And I end up just seeing like, yo, this ties into everything I'm doing as far as, being my own bank, uh, you know, controlling my affairs and my finances at the end of the day. And I was just intrigued, man. And ever since then, I'm having them late nights just studying. And this is what I do now. So I know you said we'll get into that later. So I'm gonna just keep it at that.
Yeah, for sure.
But
Like,
yeah,
I think it's so interesting, man, that you're talking about this idea of being a sovereign human in this country. Can you speak a little bit to that? Do you mind speaking to what it means? What does it mean to be a sovereign man or woman?
to me, you know, I like to break things down into its simplicity. So just knowing yourself, because we were all born free, sovereign. We were then put into put into these mental boxes that we decide to live within. And that's free will, because we could see the things that's going on around us each and every single day. We can see the oppression, we can see uh how the banking system works. If I wanted to send you some money and somebody at the bank decides that there's something suspicious about my account, or I'm moving too much at a time, or they profile us and they have the right to freeze your money that's supposed to be yours and do all this weird vicious stuff. And so to me, you know sovereign is just it's a it's a mindset, you know, like Funny Marco be saying, it's a mindset thing, man. It takes you really sitting back, being raw with yourself and saying, this is right. This ain't so right. You know what I'm saying? And identifying these things and then choosing to live your life in a certain way, which is just doing for self.
Mm.
You know, so simple answer, you know, sovereignty. I like to say we're private. A lot of people get turned off by that word. So I've kind of even stopped using it so frequently. I just tell people that I'm private because you were born with the right to privacy. And a lot of times, you know, we're using these platforms, we're giving up so much of our intellectual property for free.
Mm.
We're not charging anybody for it. We're posting what we're doing each and every day. We're posting, you know, I'm not saying you and I, but I see people all day and I don't follow them. You know, I unfollow people that's like that. You know, I don't need to know what every meal is and,
Mm.
you know, what you're frustrated every second of the day. And like, you're literally telling the enemy everything to use against you. You're telling them where you're at. It's crazy. So just practicing like, hey, it's okay to be private about stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. And I feel like we've been made to feel like doing for self, you know, and thinking for yourself, having your own belief systems, you know, all of that type of stuff is wrong. In actuality, that's the best definition of right. We all come from different walks. We should have different perspectives, and we should definitely be allowed to be private. You know, I thought that was protected by the Constitution. You know,
Yeah, it's somewhat limited, but there's definitely rights there that should be taken advantage as much as we can. I had a question. So, you know, if we are born free, at what point in that process after our birth do we lose that freedom?
I'm about to be real raw and uncut with you, man. So I hope, hey, you brought Kelzthagreat on the podcast. So I hope
That's
you're
what it's
ready,
all
man.
about. That's what it's all about, brother.
Check this out. I like to say, man, as soon as I came out the womb, all due respect to my mother, I love her dearly, but she allowed strangers to cut a piece of my penis off. I had no say so in that.
Mm.
Circumcision. It's as simple as that, bro. As soon as I came out the womb, I probably wasn't even in this environment for 24 hours, and strangers were allowed to make decisions for me. I had no say so in that. So that's the very moment that shit starts to change, man, is when we're born in these hospitals. You know what I'm saying? And and then after that, you get branded with, you know, religion,
Mm.
you know, whatever your parent sees fit for you. And a lot of times that was something that they were introduced to by these oppressors. So it's a hard thing, man. I didn't really find out about my own freedoms until a few years back, to be honest. We say we're free, but we don't understand what that looks like. We don't understand how the thinking of a free man or woman is. You know, it's something that uh we have to unlearn these things and relearn, like Derek Grace says.
Hmm. Do you think it's possible to operate in a sense where perhaps you think you're free here, but you're moving and shoving within the institutions of the oppressor? And if so, is that a limited freedom, or is that kind of like you're on your journey to freedom, or is that like you're kidding yourself? You're not actually free.
Man, yeah, we going deep today. So, you know, ultimately we all got a program. We all running off of some type of script.
Mm.
I think the freedom is within, you know, the simple choices we make each day, what we're watching, what type of music we're listening to, what type of food we're consuming. Um, those simple things that we do have the power to change. But ultimately, like I said, we are running off a script. I believe freedom is really limited.
No, I appreciate that response because it really provides like a holistic approach and gives a lot of people different lanes, right? To be like, oh, this might not be your lane, but maybe you're passionate about diet. Maybe you're passionate about sleep. Maybe you're passionate about exercise. Maybe you're passionate about the secured party creditor stuff. Maybe you're passionate about crypto. Maybe you're passionate about like business, right? So
Right.
I figure that like I'm like one person, right? Like there's only so much fucking knowledge that is stuck in here. And even though like I love to read this and I love to engage with this, I'm myself, like my body, and yeah, sure, I like to think that sometimes my spirit is boundless and that I can travel to far off destinations. But when I come back to this earth, I'm very much contained, right, to
Mm-hmm.
like my genetics, the socialization that I came up with growing up, the institutions that fed me, all of these fucking programs, right? But ultimately, I'd like to believe that like all of that was important in developing who I am today. The shitty schools that I came up in, the fucked up streets that I came up in, uh, the lack of love and support from family systems that were lacking. So in a way, I'm oddly grateful that that was the perspective that I was brought up with because it makes it that much. Uh, it just tastes so much better, bro, when we're able to kind of get on the other side of the fence. And I'm sure you've heard of Plato's allegory, the cave, the allegorical cave. Are you familiar with that story?
No, I haven't heard of that.
Oh, fuck it, I'll share it then.
What's
So
that about?
yeah, so basically, Plato used this allegory to share with the people of his times what it meant to be a slave mentally. So inside this cave, there's these puppets, and essentially they're all chained up. And sometimes the elites they show their hands, right, and they're able to make
Mm.
creations and they use shadows. And so these puppets that are living in the cave, like all they know is the shadows, right, that the master puppeteers show. That's their reality.
Yeah.
One day one of the puppets breaks his chains. He breaks his
Mm.
chains, he leaves the cave, and knowledge, like real knowledge, enters his mind. Like all truths, his understanding, everything just explodes. So naturally, he's like, "Yo, I gotta bring this back to the people." You know what I'm saying? I gotta free my people. He comes back into the cave and he starts trying to enlighten the people. And then everybody else is like, "Bro, you're fucking crazy. Like,
Hmm.
you're delusional. Like, what are you talking about?" Moving forward, that puppet that freed himself struggles now, understanding that he possesses this great knowledge, and yet he could never really fully share it to his people.
Mm.
And so, I love that allegorical story because it reminds me that as humans, through thousands and thousands and thousands of years, we've always struggled, right, to provide that lane to help people free themselves. So
Yeah.
how do you do you often feel conflicted with the fact that you feel love towards your people and you want to like help them move forward? How do you deal with that struggle, internal and external?
Man, every day, bro. I got family that I've had family tell me, they wish I would focus my energy on more important things, right? I've had family, this is not even just like friends, this is family, this is blood. You know what I'm saying? Um, I've had family, you know, I'm telling them certain things, and it's like they get angry. They don't want to hear what you're talking about. And I call that the Agent Smith.
Mm.
In the Matrix, it's like Agent Smith be jumping into different people's bodies, and it'll cause them to, you know, take on the Agent Smith's characteristics overall. And so I don't even get upset anymore like I used to. It used to be very upsetting. I would kind of emotionally respond to certain things. I get frustrated. I'm human and I'm young, bro. I'm 25. So, but now it's like I understand, and you gotta like Gary Vee be saying, you gotta empathize with people's perspective. Not everybody is gonna see things exactly like you do. And at the end of the day, I know that I'm chosen. I say that in the most humbling way. I know I'm chosen within my bloodline. So I have a very rare perspective on things. I got a lot of insight, and I wasn't always this way, but I just know um, as well that I have this power to plant a seed in people. And so I've seen oftentimes, even with those family members that they was not with it at first, now they're looking at me sometimes and they tell me like, I see what you're doing, or I'll hear them say things and it's an agreement with what I was telling them before. You know what I mean? And so now I just am more understanding with people, and I let that seed that I planted at one time, I let it do its job and flourish over time. It might not happen today, but yeah, over time, whoever's meant to see things a certain way, their eyes will be open. Now, my biggest confliction is just loving people so much that I want them to get it when I do. Um, I want it when I get information, I want to share it. I'm not like these weirdos out here that take information, they get rich, they don't put nobody on. Um, they get information that could free them, and they try to hold on to it and repackage it and sell it to their own people at extreme prices. I can't dig that. Um, I'm the type, I always try to give things for free. I try to, as soon as I come into something, I would notice that I want to rush and go tell my family members immediately. And one thing about that too is people can only share what they are consuming.
Mm.
So I want to share that with people too. Like if you're ever getting upset at somebody because they're talking a different language, they're speaking on different information than you,
Mm.
or you're not like vibing with them like that, people can only share with you what they're consuming for real. So that person might be deep in the books and you might be deep in the club. Yeah, they're going to talk different. So just understanding why somebody's even speaking that language, they might just know something. You know what I'm saying? They're putting their time to other things that you may not be experiencing yourself. And they might just be a vessel that's supposed to be speaking into you at that moment. You know what I'm saying? But once again, we plant seeds. And I think that that's just how I handle it now. I just try to let everybody be where they're at. And I don't chase nobody either. Like I've met more people through social media now that resonate and vibe with the things that I say because I'm raw and I'm uncut. I'm blunt. You know what I mean? I don't beat around the bush with things. So that's already kind of a turn off for a lot of people, especially in these times, right? Um, it's a lot of people that are kind of fragile, and it's understandable. But I just know I'm meant to speak into a particular type of person, and I'm gonna do that. My job will be done. So that's the only people um, that I even want to share certain information with now. I don't want to go looking for people. As soon as somebody shows me a sign of they're not interested, I'm going to change the subject and I'm not going to bring it back up to you because I'm not chasing nobody with nothing. So that's pretty much how I handle it now, bro.
Yes, sir. I will not dump pearls onto swine.
Yeah,
But
nah.
bro, it's powerful, bro. Those two ideas that you spoke about, seeds and authenticity. Like sometimes the seeds we drop, they're not gonna grow. But when you drop seeds and at least through your effort, you cultivate as much as possible, right? Because there's only so much you can do. The rest is their part. Maybe a little bit of destiny, maybe a little bit of chance,
Mm,
right? We mix everything in there, and then like before you know it, fuck around, and now you have a whole avocado tree, right?
absolutely.
My backyard is full of trees, and we only started planting them within like 10 years ago, right? But now through the seasons, I get to see them shift. I get to see them feed us. I get to see them grow. I get to see myself and my family have to redirect them, right? So, like, even though we drop seeds, there will come seasons where the homie can come back. You know what I'm saying? And be like, yo,
Mm,
bro, like, I really need you as a mentor. You know what I'm saying? Like this world is crazy as fuck. And this season I got lost in the sauce. But you know that I come from the same lineage of revolutionary thinking. You know what I'm saying? So these are the people that no matter what they go through, I think it's always worthy of always offering them that instruction, that love, and so on. And to the second point, bro, about authenticity, god damn, there's nothing more powerful than that, you know? Especially in today's world where you
indeed.
you fuck around, you walk around, and everyone's a fucking robot. Like
Mm,
literally incapable of questioning the very fabric of society that they go to sleep with every night. You know what I'm saying? And then
yes,
there's the
sir.
and then the rest of us are like, yo, bro, like this shit ain't warm enough, you know? This is kind of itchy right now, you know? So we start questioning and we're like, why is it this way? And those very simple questions are the ones that allow us to then find solutions, find answers, and then those answers don't suffice, right? So
Hmm.
we reach out to each other, and I'm like, yo, Kels, bro, this fucking problem is breaking my head. Like, what do you think about it? And then you're like, oh, well, bro, actually, I think your perspective is a little flawed because X, Y, and Z. So using community to be able to bounce off ideas, I think is super important because again, if we're trying to always bounce the greater ideas with the foods that are mainly only consuming Coke and clubs, then I'm limiting myself, right? Now, my ability to reflect my own ideas is going to be is going to be not as lit as I would prefer it to be. So I just wanted to reiterate those two ideas, bro, because to me it's very special for people to be themselves. It's
Yeah.
so simple. It's so simple to just be like, yo, bro, like I think one lane to help you free yourself is to just be you. But dude, we've been institutionalized, like you said, bro, since we came out of our mother's wombs, that these fucking systems tell us immediately, this is your dream. And if you dare to escape this dream, you will never be something.
Right. Now, can we identify though, even having our children in these hospitals is a choice? And they make us feel like we got to go to these hospitals. They make us feel that that's the safe way to give birth, that the safest way to give birth. Um, and then they convince the mother, you know, to take certain drugs while she's giving birth. They got her laying on her backside giving birth, which is not how any other species on this planet gives birth. It's not natural. You know what I'm saying? Soon as the baby comes out, you know, we talked about the mutilation that takes place immediately for men. And then there now we got all these different injections they call immunizations and they've brainwashed, or I won't even use that word. They have convinced, because I don't want to turn nobody off, right? They've convinced people that doing these things is in their best interest. And now it's very simple. Another thing that you just touched upon, and you didn't even reiterate it, is just asking questions. Asking questions is the most dangerous thing that we could do. Shout out to Wonderful Life. Asking questions. So if somebody would just ask a simple question, well, what's in them immunizations? What am I putting into my newborn? You know what I'm saying? If we just started asking stuff instead of just immediately consenting and believing that these people have our best interest, then we could start preventing some things from happening, and once again, if we control the environment that we're having our children in, that we are bearing them in, that automatically eliminates one structure immediately as soon as they enter this world. They're not born into a system. You see what I'm saying? The other side of that is they get the mother to sign a birth certificate while they're in the hospital, and then they send that off and they create a corporation in your name in all caps. So there's a lot of sick things that happen immediately once the child is born. I think that we need to start valuing children more. We need to start caring for them more. And we need to start realizing the things that we're doing. You know what I'm saying? We can't continue living this way. And for those who want to, that's cool. But many of us are about to start moving out the way because, you know, we getting that call. It's time.
Right, bro. And these kids, right? Like tapping a little bit back into like questioning shit. It's like when you're young by nature, you question shit, right? You're always like, why this? Why that? Some parents get a little bit more annoyed than others. But as parents, as families, as schools, it seems like our number one priority in these situations is to kill their curiosity, right?
Yeah,
I mean, bro, did you go to a public high school?
I did. I
Uh,
did.
what public high school? By some chance, if you could share that.
I went to a few, man. So just to get into my background a little bit,
Sure.
um, you know, I'm from Washington State. And so when I was probably about 12 years old, and I moved around many spots within Washington. And once I hit about 12 years old, um, I ended up moving to Germany, Bamberg, Germany. I lived there for about 3.5 years because my stepfather was in the military.
Mm.
So got to experience, a whole different culture. And I had never been outside of the country at that time. That was my first time outside of the country. And living out there, it was my first time living on a military base as well, or a military post. And so but that was my high school years, right? So 8th grade through 10th grade, I was over there. Then we moved back out this way, back to Washington. And I ended up going to Tahoma High School my junior year. And then I dipped up out of there and I graduated from Lindbergh High School. And yeah, that was my little public schooling background.
What was the? Well, first of all, like going to Germany must have been a trip.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like you said it, you experienced an entirely different culture. But I wanted to ask you about public education, right? And and
Right.
and and ask, what did public education do for you in a positive way? And overall, if it did hurt you, or if it attempted to hurt you, what did you see could be the potential of hurting people, hurting yourself, hurting others in these public institutions that offer us an education.
I like the way you presented that, because oftentimes we can just sit and focus on the negative, right? So the positive for me is, I got to experience the system firsthand, because I was aware that I wasn't learning shit. Literally, I cheated, bro. Like I'm a very intelligent individual. Um, Once again, I say that in a very humble way, but I was book smart, I was street smart. And so I think it was my 10th grade year. Because I was always had good grades, and I never gave no effort though. Like it just came easily to me. And 10th grade year, that's when we get into like, I think algebra. And I think 10th grade we were doing geometry at that point. Anyways, I cheated the whole class, literally the whole class. I took Spanish. I cheated through Spanish for like 2 years, bro. Um, like, and when I realized, I'm able to just breeze through this so effortlessly. Um, I started like observing the lifestyle of the teachers from what I could see, of course. I don't know their personal life, but I'm seeing like what I seen, and I'm just like, you know, this person is not high caliber. You know what I mean? They're not, they have no influence in this world for real. But they have been put in charge of all of our minds. But what have they accomplished? When I started looking at things like that, I was like, oh, this is bogus. Like, and so that was actually a good thing for me to see early on, though, because I was aware of it. And so when my mother is telling me, you're going to go to college, you're going to do this, that, and the third, I had my own ideas. I was like, fuck no, I ain't going to no college. Shit looks stupid to me. I'm hearing people complain about student loans my whole upbringing, and hell no, why the fuck do I want to be living like that? I'm good. So, I was able to early on to know who I was, and start to develop my own plans and my own character, what I stood on and what I was gonna do. Whereas many people, they get caught up in like schooling, they get caught up in their parents' ideas of what they want them to do. And that's cool. I mean, that might be seen as a respectful thing to do in certain cultures. But for me and my path, I'm an individual. I'm part of the collective, we're all one. But at the end of the day, I got my own story to live. So that was the benefit. Now the downside is, once again, it could be the same thing, just the opposite, right? We're not learning anything. So I'll say, okay, never mind. We learn things. We learn language. I was able to. I feel that's why I'm so able to articulate myself, is because I had some damn good language arts teachers from the time I was young, and I loved. That was like my favorite subject, was to write, to read, you know, just language. And even though English is, you know,
It's the language of the
what it is,
colonizer. But I will say this, bro,
yeah,
very quickly. Sorry to interrupt.
it's the
Like English is very, very, very much a very specific language, right? Which is
yeah.
why the English used it, right? And it's great for commerce. It's great for a lot of different things because it's very specific, and it's hard to get it twisted if you're not paying attention. But sorry to
Mm.
interrupt real quick, brother.
Nah, you said something there, bro, because I wasn't even gonna get into that, but English was literally created for commerce.
Mm.
That's why basically every culture knows English, but we don't know every other language. It was created as a median. Um, so that was a good observation. But yeah, so I say like just the fact that once again, let me double back on that. I did have things that I learned, fundamentals of math. You know what I'm saying? I think those was the main two things. Other than that, I haven't used anything else in the real world. And that would be the downfall. Is like I truly believe, you know, I'm gonna give it to you this way. Back in the day, children were with the parents or maybe a nanny in the home. So they had access, even if they weren't learning directly from the parents, they could watch and see what they were doing. They would, once they reached a certain age, it was all about your family having a trade, a family business, and the children were to learn that trade. You know what I'm saying? So now we're living in a day and age where you're literally, if your kids are in public school, you're sending them to a public daycare. Let's call it what it is. Until they're 18 years old, you're putting them in a daycare where they could be brainwashed by somebody else, which is these oppressors. They're going to be taught what these oppressors want to teach them, which is they want to dumb you down. That's the real agenda, right? Um, and so my thing is, let's teach our own children. Let's at the minimum, let's start creating our own schools, you know, for people of our complexions, of our backgrounds, and let's make sure that they're being taught by our culture. Let's stop sending them to a whole other culture that conquered us. That doesn't make sense. And I understand why. I mean, think about it, bro. Most people believe if they don't put their kids in that public schooling system, then they're going to be imprisoned, right? And then the other side of that is they're trying to fucking make ends meet. So they have to work all day. So they're like, I can't afford to have my children with me all day. Well, that's where we need to get creative and start building out businesses, man. This is what we were doing before. Now, asking somebody for a job, that's asking for benefits and privileges. That's dangerous. You're asking them to give you work. That's dangerous. That's not safe. People think that working for a job is security. That's not secure, man. Try calling in that day and telling them that your child is sick as dog mess, and you don't have anybody to take care of them, so you have to stay home. You know what I'm saying? See if that job keeps you on. That's not secure, man.
No, that's an excellent point, bro. That we've seen, right, the oppression, and some history books are a lot more accurate than others, but we can see how they shape us into the perfect cattle, right? Like if I'm a shepherd, I don't want any resistance. Why would I make you into a more intelligent young man and give you
Mm-hmm.
the skills capable of creating your entire new curriculum, right? Like, dude, that's
Yeah.
powerful, bro. I don't have any kids yet, bro, but God willing, one day I'll have a beautiful, strong family. But I'm considering, like, I'm like, yo, dude, I gotta get fucking wealthy before I have kids so I can teach my own children.
That's it.
Because
That's it.
I don't know if I can trust a fucking random individual whose vibrancy and frequencies and energetic levels and intelligence are not there, right?
Mm-mm.
Like, am I really gonna go to every school and inspect every teacher? And like, dude, people are great politicians. I can do all of that and they're gonna pass the test. But what's
Yep.
gonna happen when I turn my back? It would honestly, bro. I have a homie. His name's Amen Ra. He has he opened up his own school in Compton, and
Mm.
it's one of those revolutionary schools. Why? It's a public school, but the brother, as a leader, has made a point to create an environment where they're learning how to be independent. They're learning how to think about business. They're learning how to build as a community, right? So
Yeah.
I understand that there's a lot of people that will be like, nah, dude, like, you shouldn't work within the system because eventually the system turns you into one of them. And they that's a strong point. but I also believe in utilizing every tool we got. Like if you're giving me some tools and someone's about to fuck me up and I have one tool and it might not be the best, you best believe I'm gonna use it, right?
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so first of all, shout out to Amen Ra for being in the system and
Shout out to him.
being able to empower and inspire brown and black kids in South Central and Compton, right? Because the aspect that's revolutionary there is the empowerment, right? It's like most of us, because I don't think you and I are in this camp of disempowered individuals, but most
Right.
people are disempowered, and you know that they're disempowered because, again, that perspective of, well, you know, fuck it, I'm gonna do the 9 to 5 thing, and fuck it, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna knock up this chick, and fuck it, you know, we'll get together 10 years from now, we're gonna have a couple kids, she's gonna hate my guts, I'm gonna fucking hate her. Now the whole thing is just fucking trash. So,
Mm-hmm.
man, it there's just so much there, man. There's just so much there to explore. But to kind of maybe get onto a different subject, how
Hold
do
on,
you,
hold on, hold on, hold on. I got one last thing to say
please
on
do.
that, if that's cool.
No, please do. You can say
So,
whatever you want, bro. Whatever you want.
so with him doing what he's doing within the system, there's always going to be naysayers, man. There are always going to be people that see what you're doing and they just, that's their perspective. But I just got to, hey, what he's doing is great. And you got to start somewhere, right? So just by him doing what he's doing, he's able to, low key, he's able to infiltrate, right? He's able to infiltrate, and he's able to now take people into his own system. And when it's time for him to branch off, there's going to be people that are willing to help him now. And, I don't know how much access you have to him, but, you know, it will be a good idea to have him set up some type of affiliate link. I know he probably can only take on so many children, right? But get an affiliate link going so that people like yourself that just shouted him out, man, you can get a little ends off of that. And also he has exposure to other platforms, man, because we should be shouting out platforms like his and what he's doing every time we get on this joint. It should be one of them joints at the beginning and the end. Maybe even throw up an ad lib in the middle. You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's important. Like, I'm all for self-education. And like you said, him sharing the tools that he has developed in his walk with the children of how to, you know, structure yourself. Like that's what Islam is doing. It's a discipline. So I just wanted to add that in there, bro. Um,
Hey,
yeah,
just to
that's
add a
it.
little bit more to it, by the way, man, I love to. This is what I utilize this platform for, bro. Like, it might not be hella popular and this and that, but
It is.
I love
It's
to
getting
give
there, bro.
people their flowers, bro, because, like, I, I'm just a big fan, bro. I don't give a fuck if anyone's like, "Oh, you're a fanboy." Fuck you. Like, I love people, especially
Mm.
a human being that's doing something for their
Yeah.
people. So he created this DAO, or he's on it,
Mm.
K through 12, called Earn to Learn, where they're essentially going to create like a model of crypto so that the kids have an incentive to earn crypto while they're learning. And so the more that they learn, the more crypto they're going to earn. God
Wow.
damn.
That's beautiful.
Yes. Um, so I'll just leave that there. But how do you feel, bro, about like the concept of hope? What role does hope play in your life?
Hope, HOPE.
Yes.
Well, I don't hope for nothing. um, I operate off of knowing.
Mm,
I operate off of, you know, a form of faith.
mm,
I think that's a more powerful word for the concept that we're talking about, right? Um, and the ultimate power being knowing, because the highest level of faith is to know. So I'm not talking about that blind faith stuff that people practice. I'm talking about knowing. Even knowing something takes a certain amount of faith. So that's what I operate in. And it's a it's a powerful thing, because at the end of the day, you know, it's a form of abundance. You know, it's that it has to do with that abundance mindset. So just to kind of unpack that for people that are gonna see this, you know, when you talk about hope, that represents lack. Your focus automatically goes to what you're lacking, right? So I could sit here and I can hope to have my own land all day. And I'm I'm automatically thinking about having that land kind of in a lacking state of mind. Like I'm lacking it. I'm hoping that it'll come to me someday. I'm hoping that I'll obtain that. But when I say that I know I have land, now I'm speaking it. Now I am knowing that it's on its way. You know what I'm saying? I'm I'm manifesting it. That's what people are saying when they're talking about manifestation. It has to do with your state of mind, the way you speak, the way you think about things. So I had to go through this whole, man, it was probably a couple years of like, you know, changing my mindset, because I used to be one of them young cats that was very hot-headed from a young age.
Hmm.
Very, very hot-headed, man. Like you
Your
could
ego
say
was
one thing
just
and I'm
out there.
there. Yeah. And so even just stupid stuff, like I'm driving, you know, road rage, driving all obnoxiously, you know, bobbing and weaving traffic, like all of that is just a reflection of your state of mind. You know, now I'm laid back. I'm cruising. Like I
Hmm.
realize I'm not this is not a Ferrari right now. Why do I need to be driving like that? Right. So yeah, if I got a Ferrari, I'm finna play with it. Best believe. But uh I'm sitting here driving, you know, a Chevy Malibu. What are we doing? You know, just lay back, man. Take your time. Your time is not no important than anybody else is on the road right now. So
Hmm.
just the minor things though, I used to think like that. And it took me some years. I remember me and my sister, we were driving one day when I was on this path, right? I'm consciously now checking my thoughts. I'm consciously now, before I speak, I'm like, mm. Sometimes I'll stop in my tracks and be like, no, I'm not gonna say that. I'll say this, right? And it just became my lifestyle to now do those things. And I just remember one day I was driving with my little sis, and she's like, she's wigging out about the traffic, and I was like, yo, I was like, just chill, we're gonna get there. And I had said that line, I was like, our time is no more important than anybody else's right now. You know what I'm saying? We gonna get there. And she just looked at me and she was like, damn. But it really made her check herself. But when we got to the crib, she really told me, she was like, wow. She was like, you know what? You really changed. Like that was different. You know, that wasn't the type of thing that we were used to, even the conversation that we were even used to growing up, you know? So with me just intentionally watching the words that I'm speaking and stuff, now I really do my best to operate in that abundance mindset. So when I talk about abundance, I'll use the word, instead of hope, I would rather say I know. I know it, because that's a whole different language. That's like it's already done. You know, it says that in the Bible. Now I'm no religious person by any means, but it definitely does say that, about knowing. It talks about faith constantly. It don't ever mention hope. None of these religious texts, they don't talk about hope. They talk about knowing. They talk about faith. And that's just a little bit different. A lot. It's actually very different. It makes a major difference in your world when you just know that you're taken care of instead of hoping that you'll be taken care of. You know what I'm saying? So I live that each and every day, man. It's a bomb question.
Yeah, so I think definitely the way that you framed it, it makes a lot of sense that hope can be taken as a wish, right? Like, oh man, I just wish that one day I could get a better business.
Yeah.
But we can also say that hope can also be meant more in that strong faith, right? Because it needs to be backed by your efforts to restructure your life and to reorganize your life in a way where I'm not wishing, I'm doing, right? And that's the connection between knowing and doing. But even
That part.
though sometimes we may know something, the doing part will show us that we're not our knowledge is not complete of what we're trying to explore. But that's part of the experience of life, right? Like I'm a big fan, bro, of taking L's. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I talk about it in that book where sometimes we can take a strategic L because what may seem like a loss at first may really just be a lesson, right?
Yeah.
And in fact, bro, that's what I feel the most blessed, bro, because I'm willing to explore. I'm willing to get burned. I'm willing to go into the field and start fucking chopping shit up and hopefully making a clearer path for my predecessors. Because when I look at my family line, at least after the colonial period, which is where we started recording history, for me, at least in my family, we don't really have a historical understanding of anything prior to the 1900s. Like, imagine all my ancestors that I'm dishonoring from
Yeah.
both sides of the hemisphere because there was no effort on their part or understanding to say, let's go ahead and have these lived recordings of who we are. And even before that, when they came over, they burned all of the knowledge, all of the ancient knowledge, because they
Facts.
understood. They understood the power of destroying that idea of knowing who you are,
That
right?
identity.
Yes. And so I wanna be that step, bro. It's a cliche, but like breaking that curse, breaking that generational curse, and knowing that my dad's all fucked up because his dad was super fucked up. You know what I mean? And then me being able to be like, damn, okay, I'm aware. So should I keep judging my father in that same manner? Absolutely not.
Nah.
Bro, if you're walking in a dark room, of course you're gonna stub your toe, right? So I just say that, bro, only to say that my intentions are to clear the way, and it's okay if I I hurt myself in the process because at the end of the day I'm gonna die anyways. You know what I'm saying? So I'd rather die for something that fucking matters. You know what I'm saying? And to
Yes,
me,
sir.
what matters is like I don't know, man. I'm like, if I go out for whatever reason, I want to make sure that it matters. Not just like give my whole life to this job that offers stability. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I would have rather take a life of love, adventure, transformation, um, inspiration, right? Like all of those ideals just automatically elevate me to a whole different place than just being like, you know what, fuck it, I got my mortgage, I got the kids, I got the dog, let's go to work, honey.
Man, most people don't even want that for real anyways, man. Once they get it, they end up in divorce and unhappy and depressed, and it's like, damn.
Hey, let me
They
ask
sold
you.
you a dream that you never wanted, for real.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. Again, though, again, that goes back to giving us these little ideas to
Yeah,
follow because we're gonna achieve peace and all these different things and tranquility. And then at the end of the day, you're fucking miserable. But
yeah.
let's talk about that for a little bit, bro. Like masculinity, manhood,
Mm.
relationships. Obviously, we're relatively young, right? So I don't want to come at this conversation and be like, I fucking know exactly, how to have a positive, healthy relationship with a woman. But I don't know, you might be similar in that maybe we made some tough mistakes in the past with
Whew,
with
man,
women.
yeah. And that's what probably puts us ahead though in this
Mm,
in this conversation. It's the reason you brought that up, man. Um, yeah, I was a whole different person. You know, I've been many different people in my life already, man. I'll put it that way.
mm,
And growing up, I never saw any healthy exchanges between men and women. So I didn't know what it looked like. And that's no excuse. But I literally had no clue. You know what I'm saying? I got my first healthy hint of what a family unit even moves like, maybe 4 years ago, for real. Um, my boy from Trinidad, man. My boy from Trinidad. Shout out to Mikhail. Um, being around his family, bro, I was able to see how a family unit interacts with each other, because they're from a whole different culture. And so American culture is just straight up toxic, man. We go through a lot, man. And I know some people, it's like two types of people out here. It's victims and it's victors.
mm,
And the victims, they sit and they fester in their downfalls, like the American lifestyle that they've been brought up in, right? And then the victors, they realize what they done been through, and oftentimes we don't talk about it. We just we internalize it and we keep it pushing. We don't A lot of times we don't even realize till years later the traumas and things that we really experienced. We're just like we just tuck it, and so especially being a man, I can't even say that because women too, man. Our women are just they go through it. I'm very, very overstanding of the
mm.
dynamics now. And so just to double back, man, like I was very toxic. We use that word now, so I'll just throw it out there. I was very, I know it's like, man, we have these words that just they
No, but no,
become
but
popular.
the
So
conversation though,
um
there's nuance in the conversation, right? And it's not like we're just bringing up like toxic masculinity. No, the
yeah,
toxicity is not pertinent to feminine energy or just masculine
none
energy.
of
It's like
that.
human.
Nah, it's the dynamics. Yeah, it's the environment. We're It's the belief systems that are put on us. It's the media. It's the interactions between men and women out here. It's the trauma that is not healed. It's many things that I can now identify that we deal with. And we got to the first step is just being aware of it, man. So once I was kind of more aware of the things that I was going through and how I was doing women, I was dogging women out, man, like badly. And just not giving a fuck, bro, because that's what I grew up seeing. I seen women doing men dirty, and I seen men doing women dirty. It was just what I seen. So I'm getting older and I'm dealing with women from a non-transparent way of doing things. I wasn't transparent. I've always been outspoken and vocal, but I was dealing with them on a level of manipulation, right? Game, right? So I was running off of game. They were running off of game. Now, odds are, they were probably manipulating as well. The lower level, the lower caliber type of females that I was dealing with. But I still have to say, yeah, I think about some of the things I've done, and I'm like, yo, that was fucked up. Like, if I ever get a chance to see that woman again, I'm gonna tell her exactly where I was wrong, and I'm gonna tell her my sincere apology, and you know, that's all I want to do. I don't even want her, she don't have to accept it, but just for me to be able to release, I think that would be a good thing. These are things I've identified. And so yeah, the dynamics, man, and now at this point in my life, I'm having women, you know, who are approaching me on a whole new level now that I'm aware of things, now that I'm practicing the cliche thing, working on myself, um identifying where my flaws were. And even when I was moving that way though, I was operating off a game, but I was always honest though. Like, and I know that could sound like how's that possible? So I'm like, I'm running game, but at the same time, she asked me a question, I'm gonna tell her what's up. I'm gonna tell her I'm dealing with multiple women. I'm gonna tell her, how interested I am. Like, I was never no sucker like that. I was always real with women. And so they always have had a certain respect for me because of that. And now that I'm not operating off a game, I'm strictly moving off of that transparency. That's what we need to be doing as men. Just be transparent. You know, um, Focus on you for real. Stop chasing these women, man. A lot of the things that they read and that they learn from a young age is illusions. This just goes back to me understanding now what our women go through. They're made to believe in this thing called romance.
Mm.
They're made to believe in these Disney movie storylines, which are not real. It's all fantasy. That's not even a real interaction between a man and a woman to be operating that way. These romance movies where he's chasing her the whole Forrest Gump, that movie was sick. To me, that movie was super sick, man. He's chasing Jenny the whole. Can you hear me, bro?
Yeah, you sound good. Can you hear me?
Okay, it's popped up, something popped up on my screen and said we was having connection issues.
Minor for a second. We're back to good.
Okay, we good?
Yeah, my side's good. My side's all right.
Okay. Okay, bet that.
Yeah, yeah. So you're
So
talking about
yeah,
the
that
sickness.
movie,
Yeah.
yeah. Forrest Gump, he's chasing Jenny the whole movie, man. She's blowing him off, she's running game on him. And finally, when she hits that wall, what we call it, she hits that wall, she ain't got nowhere else to go. She ain't got no kids, you know, nobody's there for her. And then she caught AIDS. You know what I'm saying? And finally she gives herself to him. And like that's what you got us watching growing up. And it's like, bruh, fuck out of here, man. What is it's these storylines, right? So now we got a lot of women who are entitled out here. They also read books that are teaching them game. Once again, the man needs to chase you. Who do that's pimp logic. A
Mm.
woman needs to choose with me. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the same thing. And so if we're all thinking like this, that's why it's so toxic out here right now. Everybody wants to take advantage of each other for real. We're not operating out of just love and sharing our gifts with one another anymore.
Mm.
So I always tell women, when they slide in my DMs and they tell me, uh, for instance, this morning I got a nice message. She was like, that video that you posted, basically it was just a pleasure to hear your voice, whoop de whoop de whoop. And I tell her, I'm like, thank you for sharing that, because just by her reaching out and showing that love, me up, she's helping me have an easier day. So it's like just that healthy interaction. It don't always have to be lustful. You know what I'm saying? Like that's another thing is all the lust and the, you know, what we're seeing all day. If you follow certain pages, or even if you don't follow certain stuff, you might come across somebody, you know, some nudity, some and I'm not against none of that either. I love a woman's body. But I'm saying like a lot of these things are playing into the dynamics that are going on right now. And so if we could just be aware of that, put in the work on ourselves, then we can operate in what they call our masculinity, which is just sharing our gifts of being a man. You know what I'm saying? Working on yourself, uh, eating better, studying, having goals. Like that's all masculine stuff, being focused, and then you're not just chasing women all day. That's not masculine to me. We love women, we value women. But if she wants to be here, she gonna be right here. Trust me. So and 10 times out of 10, she's going to respect you and want to come and get with you if you're working, man. And working is not, always that 9 to 5. But if you are putting in the work on something, if you're focused on something and you're making a conscious decision to work towards these goals each day, you're going to be chosen. And that is the real dynamics. A woman wants to see somebody who is a provider, right? Now, a provider is more than just being able to take her to dinner and keep a roof over her head, man. She wants to see somebody who could do for themselves first. Period. Point blank. That's what a provider is. Somebody who can do for himself. And then you start to expand from just yourself to being able to provide for other people. You know what I'm saying? And if you just work towards doing that, that's when you're in your masculinity. That's when you're being alpha, quote unquote. Um, and yes, you will have a woman, you might have women. You know what I'm saying? It just depends on who you are and what's meant for you. And that's what I think about that, man. We just got to get back to operating like this. And not everybody is, man. Not everybody is, but um those of us that are, we're going to have the greatest experiences. We're not going to be dysfunctional with our women, and it's a lot of healing that we're going to do for ourselves, for these beautiful goddesses out here, and for our bloodlines ultimately, because that's part of being a provider, is providing that place where we can all be comfortable healing. I really appreciate this platform and even being able to speak like this, man, because this is what I do on my live. I don't know if you've been on the Live is Live yet, but we literally have these type of conversations, and the ladies are tuning in. The gentlemen are tuning in, and they're telling us like, yo, this is important conversation. Like we need to be able to talk this talk, because a lot of times women don't know how the real men are thinking. It's so much. There was this podcast I seen the other day where these two dudes are dogging this woman out, this queen. They're dogging her out right there on the thing, talking about, I don't like black women. I'll smack the shit out one of you niggas, man. You're a weirdo. You don't even deserve to be in her presence, weird ass nigga. I'm sorry, bro. That's how I feel about him. Like that type of stuff, dog. You on a public platform. Who cares about your preference, bro? That's not what we even deal with. A real man is not even talking like that, bro. You've been turned out by your oppressors for real. You think like a real weirdo, man. You sound like you like other men. When you talk like that, that's a turnoff. And any woman that deals with you on that level, best believe they're taking advantage of you because they don't respect you. Nobody out here respect you talking like that. You're sick.
Yeah, bro. This topic brought out so much profoundness because, whew, like we have so much work to do. You know, so much healing
Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
in within ourselves, within our partnerships, and shit. So many ideas came to mind. But you know what male. So when I met Amir, I noticed something about him. I noticed that every woman he interacted with, he kindly and eloquently spoke life into them by calling them queens and goddesses. And for me, that was the first time I ever saw a male speak to all women in that manner. And what it represented to me was a fine respect, right?
Yeah.
That detaches the our love from our lust, because quite frankly, as a lustful human being, I know what it is to be misdirected by my dick, right?
Yeah.
So in moving like that, I've had to make a personal choice. And so right now, I've decided that because of this internal confusion that I've experienced, I got to pause that part of my life where I'm in pursuit, right? And so it
Mm.
just so happens that it connects to this idea that you said that was so profound to me, that we must not chase, right? But instead, just be so wholly in ourselves that we're attracting all these people. And the truth is that I've always felt that way as well for a long time, where when I tap into my abundance, it came in many different forms. But the problem was that I was not capable of restricting myself access into these places that need real intimacy, right? And that's one
Mm.
thing that we're strongly missing in these more carnal desires, is that we've turned it into pure pornography, right? It's a
Mm-hmm.
pornographic relationship with the human being,
Mm.
when we should be valuing a whole variety of other things, right? Whether it be supporting your goals, whether it be providing that space. That was another thing that you said, right? About providing a
Yeah.
space where we can heal, where we can build, where we can laugh, where we can cry. And
Mm.
it's a beautiful thing, bro, that at least at minimum, all of my interactions, that's one thing that they've always said. You make me feel warm, comfortable, and safe. The problem is that when you yourself are not healed, subconsciously, even though that consciously I will never want to hurt you, subconsciously my darkness is already twisting and conniving and creating all these like narratives of
Right.
holy shit, you got it, right?
Mm.
Like you got it because you're chasing a certain thing. Um, so
And you're out there in California, if I'm not mistaken, right?
yes, that's correct. Los Angeles to
So
be exact.
so yeah, you around, you've been around that pimping and that home, man. And I'm in Seattle, so you know, I kid you not, until maybe hey man, maybe a year ago, probably less. It was bitch this, bitch, tramp, hoe. Like that's how I talk, because that's the caliber of women I was talking to.
Mm,
That's how they like you to talk to them. I'm not saying I was wrong for that, but now, and you helped me identify something. So Brother Truth will be on there talking about, Empress, Queen,
mm,
Goddess. He's using these words I had never used with a woman.
mm,
Kid you not, never in my life. And so then I get hip to the bully. He's talking that talk, right? And so I was like, wow, I just started fixing that part of my lingo, because even with me thinking this way for quite some time now, like I said, I'm still dealing with certain women. I'm still interacting with certain women on certain levels. And now, you know, I've seen that change within my lingo, because I haven't even said bitch during this conversation. But I kid you not, it was really a part of my vocabulary, like without even thinking about it. So yeah, you just helped me identify something, man. Shout out to the bully. Shout out to brother Truth. You know, that's love. And I understand it depends on who you're dealing with. But I aspire for even the ladies that are um women of leisure. You know what I'm saying? They on the nightlife. You know, they street stomping. You know, I aspire for them to even start speaking about themselves a little more highly. You know, so refraining from calling yourself a bitch. You don't got to be a bitch. You know, like where did this where did this come from? You gotta let go of some of that trauma, beloved. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, we just gotta create a space, man, where we're allowing these women to heal with us. We gotta have open arms, man. We gotta identify when they're dealing with their traumas. We gotta be bigger than whatever they throw at us. That's the main thing that I feel is holding certain brothers back, is that they get into this emotional mind state, and that's not masculine. Masculine has to do with logic, right? So logic should be able to identify when somebody is coming at you because of trauma, or they're coming at you, you should be able to just discern these things. Get into your manhood, discern it, and now by you discerning it, you could come with a calm solution, instead of uh reacting emotionally as well. That's when you get in trouble. That's when you are butting heads with a woman, which is where you never want to be at. um so I practice, instead of reacting emotionally, I respond mentally. You know what I mean? You want to respond mentally. And once again, I go back to what Gary Vee says about that empathy, man. I've been practicing that for some months now. And I kid you not, like it has me, that hot headedness, man, it has me reacting so much more differently. And even when I do be pissed off, I'm not showing my hand, right. I just come down, take a couple deep breaths if I must, and articulate myself. It doesn't always say you can't fight fire with fire, man. Somebody got to come cool and collected to bring the other person down to reality. Um, and so yeah, yeah, man. I'm just talking, man. Shit, I
No,
don't know shit.
no. Hey, so you know who said a story similar to that? I don't know if you ever read the
So,
book, The Dial Wolf.
nah.
Bro, it's by the RZA, right?
Okay.
The creator of the Wu-Tang Clan. And so,
RZA.
yeah, bro, beautiful, beautiful book, bro. Honestly, bro, if there's any like hood individuals that need to get started on a book to read, that because they don't like to read, that's the one book, bro, that I've seen all of my homies that fucking don't give a fuck about like self-education be like, well, I shouldn't say that actually. They do care about self-education, but just through different means and whatnot. I'm sure you understand what I'm saying.
Most
But
definitely.
when it comes down to books, that's the one book where they've been
It's a
like, bro,
barrier for people, man.
it is. It is. Language, right? Again, English,
Mm-hmm.
these different things. I think we're lucky that somewhere along the way we fell in love with literature, right? Because we
Mm.
understood that there was power there. I'm sidetracking a little bit. I'll get back to it. But like thinking about like Frederick Douglass, right? And him like fucking around with the little white boys, pressuring them, right? Using reverse psychology to use them to teach him how to understand how to read English. And then him ultimately having one of the fucking greatest autobiographies of all time. And so it was that love for learning that helped him get to that level. But going back to the story, the RZA writes right about like the ego and how one of his best friends, I'm not sure who it was, it could have been Dirty Old Bastard, I'm not too sure. But anyways, there was a time in the streets in New York where this individual got pressed. He got pressed by someone that had a gun. The individual shows up, points it in his fucking forehead, and the homie, RZA's homie, says, "Shoot me," right? Like for real. He's like, his ego came out and he said, "What the fuck are you gonna do? Shoot me." The guy shot him, right? He asked for it. His ego craved it. Like literally, we talk about the death of the ego, but sometimes the ego being the prime reason of our own premature death.
Downfall. Yeah.
Exactly. And so, you know, that just kind of to encompass that idea, right, of being overly hot-headed and being overly offended because someone looked at us a certain way, because someone called us a certain little name. And a man who is secure within himself should never worry about the mindless, incoherent ideas of a fucking sheep. But it takes a long time. It takes so much, bro, for us to walk with that peace, you know, and everyone has their lane. Everyone has their lane. For me, it's always been, when I was young, it was football. That's how I was able to exert that weird and gross energy, right? But eventually we outpace those things. So then we got to get new things. Now I like to do jujitsu because it really allows me to get my ass kicked or really like exert a certain level of energy, right? So when I leave that on that mat, I'm able to treat my family a lot more like, you know, loving and compassionate, and just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just threw a lot of different things at you, man. But you know, like healing, what I'm trying to say is that healing is not linear, you know, it's whatever calling you feel, whatever lane speaks to you, that is going to offer you that transformation. And you know, man, it's exciting. I'm happy to know that you've dealt with your own amount of, it seems like, transformations, right? Like many metamorphoses.
Yeah,
And
man.
I look forward to many more, man.
I tell people all the time, man, because people have been bigging me up, man, for like months now. Like every day, I kid you not, I be getting so much love now. And I just be telling them, man, like you're coming into a refined, Kelzthagreat. I am refined right now. Like I did not always think this way. And I'm just grateful for those who have been pouring into me, man. I keep older people on my hip, you know what I'm saying? Older OGs and um even older women that I can learn from. And that's been powerful, man. Like get you some elders and just talk to them. Stop shooting them down. Stop, acting funny. And not all of them are who I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who have been through real life experiences that can help keep you on track by sharing those experiences, and I just gotta say that's been very important um as far as my journey, is just keeping the elders within my own circle, within my own vicinity. And yeah, bro, I know damn well, you done conquered a lot of your battles as well. So props to you. You know what I'm saying? I know oftentimes we go as men, we go times with nobody showing love or showing support. And just you know, you hit me up the other day and you said your words were, you know, I'm getting back to it. So hey, keep going, bruh. Cause these type of conversations, man, you are making ripples right now. You are making ripples with what you're doing, having me on here speaking, having each person that I was watching one of your interviews earlier today. Um, I can't recall the name of the video right now, but I was locked in, you know. And the other day when you had hit me up and you told me, you were like, you know, I really don't even want to talk about the crypto like that. This is more of a personal thing. To me, I was like, dog, that sounds therapeutic. Let's do it for real. Because oftentimes people are tucking all this stuff and then or they're afraid to say these type of things. But I could tell um just within the first couple messages, like, nah, you're building something that's authentic, you know, that's raw, uncut. That's why I use these words with you. Um, and instantly it resonated because I've been doing something similar on the Instagram lives and people have been bigging me up about it. So I knew I was like, oh, this is divine, you know. So I just want to big you up and tell you, you know, you're doing a great thing, man. And, you know, earlier you had said you don't have too much of a following. Bro, you got exactly who you need right now. And those people are going to continue building this platform out with you. I guarantee it. I know you got some real people watching because you're a real individual yourself. So the numbers, it's not about the numbers, man. We speak to who we need to speak to. And to be honest, by us just walking this path and just being consistent, that's the key. Nipsey Hussle said, you know, he was asked on an interview, what's the one thing that put you in position? He said consistency. That's it. I didn't stop. I didn't give up. You know, he conquered every battle that came his way. And that was that is the most influential, quote unquote. I'm not even gonna say rapper, I'm gonna say artist. Because I know that's what who he was and a word that would have resonated with him. He was the most influential artist of our generation. And that was the jewel that he left us with is just be consistent. You know, the numbers will come, man. The numbers will come because I'll tell you what, real is back in style, man. You know, it's been a lot of fake shit going on, a lot of pollution out here, but nah, man, we back in style. I mean, we never left, let's be real. But now it's resonating again. People are seeking it out. They're tired of all the fakeness and the posers and the the washed down manhood, the washed down femininity. Uh, I truly know that many people, especially during this pandemic, this pandemic that they set up, they kind of fucked up. Yeah, some people going crazy out here, but it's been people putting in that work, man, figuring themselves out. They had time to think, and that's just what we needed. Many of us just needed time to just stop and just figure out, like, get out the rat race. And they provided that just for us. So I'm gonna just twist that whole perspective around of what we've even been experiencing, because I know many people share their opinion, and like I said earlier, we just focus on the negative. Oh, they're, you know, they plan this. Oh, they you know, they're taking away all the jobs. Oh, they're doing this, that, and nah, man. They gave us time to think, man. Let's look at the positive in it. Let's use it to our advantage. Ain't nothing that could be done to us for real if we know the advantage in it, if we see the opportunity. So what's some more questions that you got for me, man? I'm enjoying this conversation.
Yeah, bro. Nah, for real though, being solution oriented, bro, is one of my key fortes. Don't get me wrong, I be feeling hella like trash, bro. Like sometimes, like life fucking hits me. I get rocked.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I like to do? I get up. I get up. Fuck it. It was a rough day. I go to sleep. I wake up. The sun is shining. I feel blessed again. I feel gifted
Yeah.
again. I feel, man, it's just the amount of angels that I've met that have grazed my presence is enough to remind me that this shit is all just so special, man. You know what I mean? And that overwhelmingly always outweighs the negatives of life. Sometimes I do think that I was born with a couple cheat codes that allows me to tap into that because not everyone can. But thank you, bro. Honestly, man, thank you so much, man, for enjoying, being here, for understanding, the purpose of my platform and and embracing it, man, because it's definitely it's a wonderful to be noticed by another powerful human being, and so that always kind of just adds on to the collective vision. And the reason why I stopped not too long ago was because I think I was comparing myself to the great platforms of podcasting, and they have thousands of dollars, right? They have people that are doing all these great edits. They have all these fancy cameras. They have all these different things, and they have all, you know what I'm saying? And then I was like,
Mm-hmm.
damn, like
Mm-hmm.
I just got tired of me, and I got stuck. And I said, it's okay, bro. Just pause it for a little bit. Think about it again, right? Like getting some time to think, that free time to think, and me ultimately being like, you know what? Fuck it. With people like yourself, you don't live around me. Let's do it like this. Let's work with what I got. And this is what I got right now. And quite frankly, whoever taps into this conversation, I think they're gonna also be like, fuck yeah, like this is how people say, this is the collab that nobody asked for but everybody needed,
Mm.
so I truly feel that. um so thank you for that, man. So now,
My pleasure.
there's like 1,000 topics, other ones, but we can always speak again in the future. I would like to just talk about crypto for a sec,
Let's
because
get it.
you know I am
Hey,
going to
this the
share
most crypto is the most relevant thing that anybody could be speaking on in 2022.
facts. So when did I become a crypto head? I'm class of 2021, so I'm a rook in a sense, I think after a year, it's enough to kind of be like, okay, like, eh, I think I know where I'm going, but
Mm.
trip out, bro. So I was hanging out with a homegirl of mine. Um, see how all these things kind of coalesce. She was getting
Mm.
into a lot of the Moorish ways, right?
Yeah.
And we're just hanging out, we're puffing, we're munching on some fruits, and then she just randomly kind of starts talking about crypto. And I mean, I've been following it, right? I looked at Bitcoin when it was at, I don't know, when it was still under 7 grand, right? That's when I looked at it initially. I didn't jump into it because I was too scared. I was ignorant. I didn't know how to move in the system, right?
Right.
And then she's just like, yo, this dude has a class in Chicago. Mind it, we're chilling in a park in LA, right? And she's like, yo, this dude has a class in Chicago. I got a class. I'm going next weekend. You want to come with? And I'm a crazy
Mm.
motherfucker. Like, I'm, like I'm always willing to adventure into things that I have no idea. And so I'm like, yeah, let's do it. I had no idea what I was getting into. Um, Bully's very busy, right? So he doesn't always respond to messages and emails and things like that. So I send him a message, doesn't get back, but I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm still gonna get a ticket. We're still gonna go. And it wasn't until that morning of the day of his burn BLE class at
Mm-hmm.
4:44 in the morning that he responded, and he was like, absolutely, beloved, you can come on through, right? At that point, bro, I just felt that spiritual connection
Mm.
already being like, walking this way. You know what I'm saying? Go. Obviously, being in there and being able to see him do his work, I was just like, I didn't understand much, right? Because he went straight into DeFi at the time, because it was January, it was February, early February, it was snowing like crazy. So at that time, he was still working with people in the DeFi space. But I mean, bro, I was like, yo, I got my wallet. You know what I'm saying? I was confused. I was just in there. Who else was there? My boy Congo, my brother Congo,
Okay.
and,
Yeah.
and so I'm in the space, basically pretty ignorant, right? But my heart is open, and I'm
You was right in the mix with the best people though. The very
yes,
best.
and I was just soaking in that energy, and I was soaking it in, and I felt transformed. You know what I mean? It was one of those transformations. And so I want to use that story to bring in the concept of crypto, because I want people to understand that crypto is so much bigger than just number go up, number go down.
Mm-hmm. Man, so all right. Let me back up. And that's powerful, by the way, man. Um, I didn't know that you had got onboarded by the very best. You know what I'm saying? So that's exactly what people need to start looking at as well, is going to people whose history is not a mystery. I
Mm,
always tell people that, man. Look at their page, look at the interactions that they're getting, look at who they've built up. You know what I mean? Don't go learn crypto from somebody who's jumping in your DMs.
mm,
Like they come into you and they're jumping in your DMs telling you need to learn crypto. You need to tell them to kick rocks for real, because they're about to scam you.
mm.
So um yeah, man, that's powerful. Now, so I said a little bit about how I got put on, but just to do a little recap. So I was uh learning from Brother Truth, and on his platform he had, shared the bullies technical analysis class. And this might have been in 2020 at some point, I believe. Maybe 2019, but I believe it was 2020. And so I end up, I seen it. It was like it planted that seed. So I go on and I start learning the stock market in 2020 when the pandemic hit. Um, I just got like a new awareness. We were all looking for what to do, right? What's the move? How do I feel like anybody with some sense was like, how do I capitalize off of this? Because I know somebody is. We knew the businesses were the big corporations. And so we were all trying to find our way in. Now, I ended up taking Brother Polite's Gold in the Crisis class. Shout out to Polite. And that shit was life changing. I kid you not, man. Like he gave me so many tools to just work off of. And so hey man, I'll always be thankful and grateful for Polite, man. He's definitely one of the gods. And so fast forward, he ends up doing like a intro to crypto type class that branched off the Gold in a Crisis class. And so I seen it, didn't act upon it. Now, fast forward, I'm practicing playing with options and trading stocks and doing my thing, learning technical analysis. And I end up um seeing Bitcoin run from 13 G's up to like 30 or something like that, right? Within a matter of, it was so quick. It was so quick. And that caught my attention. I said, oh, that's where the money's at.
Mm.
So now, you know, it's like that movie Django, when Leonardo DiCaprio was like, first you had my attention, uh now you got my curiosity. So I got real curious, real intrigued. And so I end up going, I followed the bully. Like I said, he accepted me because it's private page. And I just started going down all of his posts, man, learning everything I could. And I was like, yo, this shit is like, I was just so in tune with it. Like I just didn't want to stop looking at his page. Now every post he's making, I'm on it. Whenever he went live, I'm on the live. I gotta stop doing whatever, man. I'm in there. And so I'm just soaking it all up. I'm that type of learner. Like it's a different type of learning to be able to just tune in to what you're attempting to learn, and now you're just like soaking it all in, processing it, very quickly. So then I'm learning the concepts, and he's somebody, he teaches from the decentralized side of things, privacy, right? I was just coming from studying what privacy was all about now with Brother Truth. So now I'm like, oh, this all lines up. This is what I'm meant to be doing right now. So I soak it up over some months, and I was ready to move on it. I ordered me a cold storage wallet, and I was like, all right, I need to take a class now and make sure I'm on point. I gotta, because I'm telling you, I was so ready. But I was like, I don't want to fuck anything up because I know I'm responsible for every move I make now. This is about private banking. I understood that. So I end up hitting the bully up, and it was right around the time he was telling folks like, you don't got too much longer with me. I'm about to bounce out, I'm about to be retired from this. And so I think in the time frame that I had hit him up, he had stopped accepting clients as well. It was like a double whammy. He was like, I'm overbooked right now. I'll start responding soon again once I get through these people. I'm gonna take a step back. So I was like, damn, so I end up hitting up Paige Flowers and getting in her class. And so once I took that class, everything was just, she connected all the dots, the questions that I might have had, which was very few. She connected the dots and she gave me some, you know what I'm saying? She gave me even more information that I wasn't privy to. And based off of that, bro, I was able to just build myself up through putting in the time, um, pulling those all-nighters, just looking at projects and learning how to study, learning um, how these wallets work and these different exchanges and platforms, how to deal with them and everything. So I just started, once I took her class, I knew, I was like, okay, I have more than enough information now. It's time to get my feet wet. So I started doing my thing. Um, and man, uh, it was like, this is what I'm meant to be doing. Damn, I got this train going by right now.
Yeah, no worries.
So is that super loud?
I can hear it, but you're louder. Yeah.
Look, I'm about to close the window real quick.
Yeah, no problem, man. Go ahead.
You can hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, bet that. So, um, so I take her class. I'm moving and grooving, and then I was just like, this is this is it. Like, I no longer even want to deal with these banks sending money from my bank account to somebody else. It's just like it's something I dread now. Like, so my mind started adjusting to this crypto already. I'm like, yo, this is where it's at. Like, this is what I've been missing out on. Then we start so now I'm soaking up, what DeFi is at this time. It takes you some time to really learn and really comprehend all the different things that you're doing. But when you go to the very best, right? So once again, shout out to my mentors, man. Chicago Crypto Blockchain Bully, Paige Flowers, and Naughty. I'm gonna get into Naughty as well. Um, Shout out to them, because when you go to the very best in whatever niche,
Mm.
they're going to not only teach you what you need to know, they're going to offer you insight. They're going to offer you experience, how not to bump your head like they may have. Now, they might not point it out to you like that, but I guarantee you that's what a great teacher does. Um, and so by me going straight to the very best, I feel like I was able to skip out on a lot of BS. Um, I was able to, it's like they prevented me from making certain mistakes. And so it pushes you up to another level. And then when you put in the time, you can almost catch up with them. You can almost catch up to where they're at. So now you can start bringing your own things to the table if you're that type of person. So now, fast forward, I get hip to many individuals within the community, and one of them was Naughty. Now, I came across him on Rarible, and he had done a class for free with Paige. And I ended up watching that class, and I was like, you know what? Excuse me. I was like, you know what? I really like what this brother's talking about, and these NFTs, man. I had seen Bully buying them. He had taught us what they were, but I hadn't bought any NFTs for real at that time. I had bought his crypto creditor course, and I bought the first NBA NFT, which was a collection, but I bought one of the first ever NBA NFTs by an NBA team, which was the Trailblazers, Oregon Trailblazers, and they partnered with StormX, which is a cryptocurrency. And so I ended up buying one of those pieces. And so at this time, I had like no NFTs basically. I get hip to Naughty, and I'm studying what he's doing for quite some time now. And I'm like, man, I want one of his pieces so bad. Like, I just really liked the artwork that he does. And he ends up dropping the VIP bear one day. And he's like telling people, hey, you want to load up on this joint. You know what I'm saying? Like, load up, don't miss out on this. So I bought like 10 of them things, if I'm remembering correctly. And of course that gave me access to the rare bear community. And I just started interacting with other people in the community. So now that's when people didn't really know what I was doing before that. Like only the people that knew me in the real world, right? They were following me. You know, they weren't really liking my posts. They didn't really give a fuck. You know, I had a few good friends that I know they was liking it on some petty shit. They're like, I feel bad for this nigga. Like, let me throw him a charity like. So, you know what I'm saying? But they didn't understand what I'm spitting to them. You know, they just know this is what Kels is into. So, um, you know, I had maybe 100 something followers at the time because I had deleted my old page, and I was like, I just want to produce something of substance now if I'm using this social media. Like I've went through that a few times. Um, you know, and so I rebranded my page essentially to just be information. You know, I was like, I like what the bully's doing. He and I know why he does it, but his intentions is as well is he wants the information to be the face of what he's doing. So I liked that. I was like, all right, I'm about to start just posting information of what I'm learning and what I'm doing, what I'm seeing. And like I said, it wasn't really, you know, nobody was really seeing that at first, but that's what I was doing. So I stayed consistent. And one day, well, it was some time, but I started flipping those VIP bears for some nice profit. And I made a little slick post one day on my story. And I'm like, uh, you know, I bought 10 of these bears. I just broke down the simple mathematics. I broke it down real simple to where any motherfucker could figure out what I'm saying, right? So I'm like, I bought 10 of these, I sold X amount for, you know, these prices. If I just sell one more, then I'm gonna be in a profit and I'm still gonna have 5 left or whatever it was, right? And so people started like they were like, oh, you know, I'm getting DMs. People are like, I want to learn crypto because they seen some bread being made. So um and then Nadi ends up, I guess, catching wind of my post. Somebody must have tagged him or something like that. So he shouts me out. He's like, yo, Kels, you know, Kelzthagreat, I want you to come and speak in my $100,000 off NFTs class. Um, and so boom, I get like over 100 something new followers that day. And now I have an audience. You see what I'm saying? Just from me, because when they came to my page, I didn't care that nobody was fucking with me on the crypto tip. I just kept working. I just stayed consistent. And so now when they came to my page, they seen the work that I was putting in from all that time. Now they're commenting on the posts. They're liking them. They're going through and seeing all the work I had done that I had no acknowledgement of. Now it was getting acknowledged. You know, so that's just a life lesson for people. It doesn't matter who's watching you, bro. Like the right people will find you. So literally, this was probably, I don't know, maybe 5-6 months ago, maybe. Probably less than that, bro. To be honest, I think I've went from maybe 100 something followers to like the 800 something that I have right now on IG in maybe like 4 or 5 months. But my page, it like as far as the crypto goes, like I've always been able to, you know, pull in some attention if I post pictures, whatever it is. But like I said, I just wasn't on that. You know what I mean? I want to bring substance. I was at this point where it's like, I don't want my page to just be, you know, some pretty boy shit. That's lame. Um, I want to monetize this platform. I want to add value to people. I want to teach people things that they're not necessarily paying attention to. Now I understand that's kind of the wrong idea as far as wanting to teach people, because you're not going to get everybody. Like not everybody gives a fuck about what you care about or what you see. unfortunately, you might be the one with the vision, but they might not care until later, they will. But so that was my initial intentions. It's like I just want to teach the people around me. I want to, and that didn't work out like that. I had one of the homies, I made him like 20 bands in the stock market before I got involved with crypto. Um, and like this type of stuff is not really out there. Nobody knew that at the time, just based off of going to my page. And so fast forward, yeah. So Nadi ends up giving me some props, and now I took that energy that was passed to me, and instead of just letting that be that, I was like, I noticed that uh, you know, Miss BB McGee on IG, she was somebody I was following, and I was watching her videos about the trust. And she's a powerful speaker, so she talks to people about the trust. She talks about food. She talks about the jab and all of that. So I was watching her, and she has a nice following. She ended up following me with all of those other people. So I'm looking at it, out of everybody that followed me, I'm looking at her like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? She don't even know I've been watching her for months. This is dope. And boom, to put icing on the cake, she comments on one of my posts and says, hey, I've been seeing this cryptocurrency stuff. I know I need to learn it, but I don't know where to get started. So I took that energy, like I said, and I said, Miss BB, I would love to throw a class for you and whoever you want to bring. And and as a matter of fact, I'm gonna give you one of these VIP bears that I have so that you have access to whatever we're getting within this community, because it was still fairly new. And that just like that blew her away. So now, at this current moment, like we're really good friends now. She's one of my elders that just she speaks life into me and helps me with things. And she never hesitates to invest in me. And we just big each other up. But she has a nice following, and she ended up, she was shouting me out. And my first official crypto class that I did, we reeled in like 40 something people.
Solid, dog.
Yeah. And like I said, I was teaching before then, just like privately, people around me, or random consultations here and there. But that was the class that gave me more notoriety, because now I'm setting up a Zoom call like this. I got like 30, 40 people in that joint at any given moment. And I was able, like, I watch numbers, I'm very aware of things. I was able to hold 20 something people's attention for a 6-hour class. So that spoke to me. I said, oh, like 20 something people stayed. That's 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 brilliant. You know what I'm saying? Like most people, obviously I'm talking something.
Right.
A lot of people big me up. And ever since then, I've just been innovating. I'm always coming out with something new that I could do, or a new course, or, people are DMing me now. Like I've been on different people's lives, and that has just built me a following rather quickly. I didn't have to step out of character. I didn't have to do no sucker shit. I didn't have to do any giveaways. I didn't have to buy any followers. I didn't have to lie to people. There was no coercion. It was just straight transparency. I continue to make my posts the way that I want to. I continue to speak the way that I want to. And I started doing my own lives, because I had never went live before that. So now I'm networking. I'm meeting all types of new people. In Nadi's community, I was talking to him the other day, and I just told him, I was like, yo, I appreciate you. You put me on the map. And, he goes into these humble these he goes into his humble character, man, and he's like, no, you put yourself on the map. And I'm like, I know what I've done, but look, I stay consistent. I've done this, that, and the third, but you sparked that by acknowledging what I was doing. You brought me a whole audience, you know what I'm saying? And I've been able to, yes, take that and build upon it. But I just want to let you know and be real with you and just tell you I appreciate you, and I sent him a picture, a screenshot that I had took of when all those people was following me. And he was just like, yeah, thank you, bro. I know he felt like, nah, I'm just being genuine. I'm not being like, I'm not just giving you some fake ass, thank you, or some weenie shit where you're just riding dick and you're like, you did this for me. Nah, bro, like, nah, it's not what this is. I'm just acknowledging that you shined your light on what I'm doing. And yes, I was able to run with it because that's the type of individual I am. But I always gotta big up the people who are bigging me up. And he really taught me the NFT game on another level. Um, I was able to see from each of these individuals that I've mentioned that it was possible for it to be done. Each of the things that they're bringing to the table, they're teaching people. They are investing, which is something we don't talk about in our communities. They are controlling their own affairs. Um, you know, they are entrepreneurial. They are seeking out information, which a lot of times can be looked at in our communities as some lame shit. Like, nigga, you're smart. You know what I mean? Like that type of stuff, right? Um, I had watched that was the video I had watched earlier. You and a homie on there were talking about in a schooling, and you mentioned like all the kids were talking about how they got D's and F's, and you had to like kind of fit in with them, and you were like, how do you think that made the smart kids feel? Yo, I relate to that so much because I was the cool kid that got along with everybody, but I was also articulate, and I felt like I had to dumb myself down to even be amongst certain crowds, right? Even up to high school. And it got to the point where um then you see other light-skinned kids and people are calling them white behind their back. You know what I'm saying? You got people calling them white boys or white girls, and family. I seen family do that to people around me. It's like, damn. So I never wanted to, that ego. I never wanted to be looked at as a white boy, or you know what I'm saying. So I start dumbing myself down and acting ignorant as fuck, even though I was real bright. And it took, you know, it really took over the years, and I had to grow out of that and be like, nah, like y'all are just fucked up, like, um, and then, but seeing, you know, the bully, Paige, Naughty, seeing them very, very, very sharp, articulate, you know, walking their walk, talking their talk, helping the people, not just talking about it, uh, putting in the work, you know, and then Brother Truth as well, man. Shout out Brother Truth. Um, just seeing all of their paths, man, and seeing how they were unapologetic, it also, I feel like, sparked something in me where I was like, yo, yeah, this is cool. This is the cool shit. I was cool before everybody was, on this type of stuff, As a matter of fact, I really think everything in my life I paid attention to has always been the shit. I was telling somebody the other day, it's a little bit off topic, but I'm gonna land my plane. I'm gonna bring it all together. I was telling somebody the other day, when I was a kid, I collected Pokemon cards, and I had like all of the first editions. Boy, I tell you, I had all the first editions, man. When I tell you that that Charizard that J Paul bought, Jake Paul that he bought, I swear to God, I had that Charger. I had the Blastoise. I had all of them, the Bulbasaur, all of them joints, man. I had all of them, the
Right?
original first editions, man. And in fifth grade, man, I had this little girlfriend named Brittany, and I thought I had outgrown the Pokemon cards, man. I'm like, I got this little blazing girlfriend, you know. I'm just, hey, you know, all the little girls was feeling me at school, you know. I thought I had outgrown them, so I end up, her little brother, man. I remember she had came over one day, we're chilling, and you know, I just gave them to her little brother. I was like, hey, you know, you want this binder full of first editions? And now all of this time later, bruh, that's money, you know? So when I look at that, I was like, damn. And then I used to love video games, man. And I stopped playing video games like that. Like I don't have a system or nothing like that, man. Like over the years, I probably just whenever I go over to the homies or something, I hop on the system. I'm weak now, man. I done lost all all my skills in the games, man. I gotta get better. But so now blockchain gaming comes out where people are playing to earn. I said, okay, cuz I'm not making this mistake no more, man. Like I've always been on point. I've always been so on point. It's scary, you know. So I was like, whenever I think it's time for me to stop doing some shit or dumb myself down, or I'm too old for this. I'm too nah, bruh. Nah. Do what you love. Do what you're interested in. You know what I'm saying? So I brought that full circle to just also, you know, speaking to people, man. Just be you. You know what I'm saying? Just be you at the end of the day. Do what's cool to you. Uh never, never bring yourself, feel like you have to bring yourself down to anybody, you know, pull yourself up to meet those who are on the same type of frequency as you know, just big yourself up to new rooms. You know, you might be outgrowing a certain crowd, and that's okay. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely people out here for you. It's billions of people out here. Um, so yeah, man, it just it tears me up
You know what
seeing
you know what I love, bro, about everything you said when it came down to building yourself was the aspect of building organically. You know, it's an aspect that's commonly ignored because you want to cut corners, man. And I know that when we were young, because I used to cheat like a motherfucker, school wise,
mhm,
because that's what any intelligent kid would do. You look at a system and you're like, what the fuck? Who cares? Right? I'm gonna
mhm,
fucking get my grade. I balance out my life, but you can't cheat real success.
mhm.
Like, and the success is you. You're the project in this fucking life. So if we start cutting all these corners in real life, then we're never gonna really become self-actualized. And by doing what you did, bro, you know, reaching out, selling those NFTs, and getting Nadi's attention, and being invited to have these like talks and doing a 6-hour course, man,
Yeah.
all of that was perfectly aligned with your walk. You know what I'm saying? You didn't have to act like
Mm.
you didn't have to do the thing right on social media where you do something stupid hoping that you go TikTok viral.
Hell no.
You know what I'm saying? You were
Yeah.
yourself, you were authentic, and dude, I fuck with that energy so much because I guess I can see myself with that, and being on the same tip, bro. You know, Nadi's someone that I highly respect as well. You know, It took me a minute actually to kind of get to know Nadi. I'm gonna show you something right now, real quick. I'm looking for my trust wallet as I take it out.
Okay.
So again, I also got connected to Nadi through Bully because I seen him talking to each other and posting each other and shit like that. I went to his event, Social Currency in LA, and I showed up, but people don't really know you. Like, what are you up to? Nobody really cares, quite frankly, and that's okay. We don't take these things personal. It wasn't until many, many months later, after the whole, rare bear shit, where I'm announcing to my public arena and I'm saying like, yo, like, I want to teach you guys the basics, right? I want to teach you guys the basics of crypto because I think it's necessary. And at the same time, I'm teaming up with Big Hobbs, because he's like, yo, bro, I'm seeing what you want to do, what you're trying to do. Can I teach the class with you? And I'm like, fuck yeah, you could teach it with me, right? So Big Hobbs, he actually had a personal connection to Nadi, right? And then this fool calls me one time. He's like blowing up my phone. Meanwhile, I'm like busy, you know what I'm saying? But he's like, bro, is this urgent? I answer the phone call. And then he's like, yo, guess who I'm with? And I'm like, man, I don't fucking know. And then he passes me the phone and it's Nadi, like here I am talking to the phone with Nadi. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you're that dude that's fucking killing it in the crypto game, killing it in the NFT game. Like, to me, that's hella validating. And I know that we shouldn't really seek validation from others, but sometimes when it's the right energy, it kind of just fits right.
Hell yeah.
So he tells me, he's like, so I hear you're trying to do, a free class to community. And I'm like, yeah, for sure. He's like, I'm gonna show up, I'm gonna show up because I want to support y'all. I want to see what you guys are up to. I want to see if we could potentially, what I'm saying, like build in the future when we need more educators in the space. And that moment, bro, I just felt again in alignment, with my purpose, with my future.
That's it.
And just being like, bro, I didn't fucking try hard. I didn't give a fuck if he did or didn't ultimately, you know what I'm saying, say he was gonna come through. But the fact that it did and that it happened organically and that I was able to camaraderise with him, in person, it was just such a beautiful experience, man. And I say that to the audience, to you, to myself, to again, keep it real, be true to yourself. And who cares if your organic tree is taking a little longer to grow, right? If the fruit don't seem as big as the GMO shit being created by all these like multi-billionaire corporations. We're not that. We're humans, right? We embody everything that it is to be perfectly imperfect. And it's truly, a beautiful thing. Now that having given me the opportunity to intersect paths with you, so it's all really,
and it's perfect timing.
I agree that we shouldn't fear feeling like we're too old or like it's taking too long, and doing all these different things. So we didn't get into any specifics of crypto, and I didn't really want to get into any specifics of crypto because if anything, I want people to reach out to you, and be like, yo, man, like, yo, I want this class. I want to know more about this subject. I think y'all should hit up, Kelzthagreat if you want to learn more about, the crypto space. So I got two more questions for you, bro. I got two more questions for you. And the next question is quite a challenging one, but I like to ask it anyways.
Okay.
What is the meaning of life?
All right, that ain't bad. So to me, the meaning of life is experience. We're all having different experiences, and these experiences lead to us all collecting data. You know what I'm saying? We're collecting data, man. We're having an experience. So enjoy it. Have fun. Uh Take it serious, but with the intentions of living and seeking fulfillment. Don't take it serious in the aspect of like, you know, what you've been taught by the system, slaving, you know, working for somebody else's vision. Just do what resonates with you intuitively. We all know what we're supposed to be doing at any given moment. You know, if you're supposed to spend a day doing nothing, then spend that day doing nothing. When you look at nature, the trees ain't tripping, doing nothing. And at the end of the day, they're still creating, whether we know it or not. They're producing for us, but they stay still. Same with nature, other forms of nature, the animals and stuff. I've heard people say, like, you know, cats must have a boring life. Why do you say that? They're doing what they were created to do at any given moment. So don't fall prey to the constructs that have been placed on us, man. You know, you're going to do what you're meant to do at the end of the day. And that kind of ties this whole conversation full circle, because one of the first questions you asked me was, do we have, did you ask me in that? I don't know if you posed it in this manner, but it was about free will, right?
Yeah,
Um,
basically,
or
it was
basically
about
like choices,
yeah, freedom.
freedom. That's what it was. So, you know, um, I'll leave it at that, man. It's about experience. It's about experience. So make sure that you are experiencing whatever it is that you're doing, uh, fully, unadulteratedly, and at the end of the day, when it's your time to part from this place, it's not necessarily happiness that you want. I don't agree with that everybody is pursuing happiness. I like the word fulfillment.
Mm,
You just want to be fulfilled. You want to feel that you've done what you set out to do. I'm gonna leave it like that.
that's beautiful, brother. And finally, so there is a lot of young people that tune into this. If you could offer them the greatest piece of advice to the youth, what would it be?
I would say enjoy every moment. Whatever you see as good, whatever you perceive as bad, find find the positivity in it, because there's definitely a positive within every situation. And like Jay Flow said earlier, he embraces the L's, what we perceive as losses. And oftentimes those losses, once you dissect them, you could find a lesson in there. And a lesson is really a blessing. And I mean that a blessing as in the new meaning. You know what I'm saying? It adds value to you. So, you're never losing, man. You always right on time. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. Just get through it. And you know, to piggyback off of that, You got time. There is no rush. Don't look at other people's paths and think that you're in competition with anybody. I know it's cliche, but your only competition for real is in the mirror. You know, you see somebody else doing good, just know that that's your reality as well. It's only the only thing between what they're doing or where they're at and where you're at is just time and consistency at whatever you're doing. You could be you could be cleaning houses. You could be flipping burgers. You can be skateboarding. You can be making music. You could be teaching. Just figure out what it is that you want to do, not nobody else. And that's going to take experimentation. You're gonna have to try a whole lot of shit, man. You're gonna have to try a whole lot of shit. I've done literally everything, man. Like people wouldn't even know. I used to deliver for a Chinese restaurant. I ain't have no clue what the fuck they was telling me half the time. I couldn't even answer the phone for them to take orders, and they started getting upset with me. But I had that experience. I ended up washing dishes there and doing the deliveries, right? And but that added value to me. I worked at a golf course for some time. Some shit you probably never see me doing, and it was in the widest area. But them white folks was fucking with me. You know what I mean? So I tested out the playing field. I learned some things while being there. I learned that that's where, uh, you know, big business deals take places on a golf course. I learned that from that. So, um, whatever you're supposed to be doing, man, don't get distracted by nobody that's around you. Be careful with who's around you. You know, man, it's so much I could tell to the youth. That's uh one of my main audiences that I am working towards influencing and helping along this path, man. But yeah, just try a whole lot of stuff, figure out what it is that you want to do, and it may take years, it may take a long time, but the answer will come to you through trial and error, repetition. And once you figure it out, just stay consistent. That's it. Have fun with it. And it should be something that you enjoy. Like I enjoy teaching. I enjoy now talking to new people and doing something like this, networking. um I didn't know that this was what I was going to be doing, but I figured it out because naturally, you know, anytime I get information, I want to share it with people. I spoke on that. And it's to the point where certain people around me would be looking at me, they'd be like, yo, I don't want to talk about that. Or, like I have family members tell me, like, can you just have a normal conversation? It kind of hurt. I didn't know what they were saying, but it just meant like I'm not supposed to be pouring into you with this information. I should just go pour into my platform, and the right people will cross my path eventually who want to hear this type of thing. So that was something that happened within my path is, I stayed consistent with putting up information on my page and giving my unique perspective that I have. And we all have a unique perspective on whatever we're doing. So that was one of the key things I did. And um, and then like I shared, the right people found me. And now I've just been adding on to what I was doing originally. And I truly enjoy it. I enjoy going and sharing a post with my perspective. And through me continuing to do that, like I said, the closest people to me were kind of downing me, and I stayed consistent. And now all of these strangers are now coming to me, and I kid you not, it's not a day that doesn't go by where I don't have a stranger telling me, I love your voice, or I love how you teach. You're a great teacher. Um, I love the pace that you talk at. It's very soothing. It helps me learn. Like I get told all these things now, but it took me going through my own people's not supporting that, and me saying, oh, fuck all that. I'm gonna be down for a little minute, but I picked myself up and I was like, nah, this is what I'm doing. And that's what it takes. And now I'm gonna continue doing what I'm doing, and I'm gonna offer, a real life example of being consistent and where it could get you. Cause I just shared, my elevation within 4 months, and there was so much behind the scenes nobody knew about. I was living out of my car for some time. I was going to the coffee shop every single morning and getting on pulling up my laptop just so I could use the internet and watch the stock market from 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. when it closes, literally at the coffee shop. Um, them type of things, man. It just takes a certain level of understanding yourself. And I'm not saying everybody's path has to be that way. Um, but sometimes you gotta choose that warrior's path. Like it was easier things I could have done. I could have went and got a 9 to 5. I could have went and done other things, but I had done that in the past, and those things no longer resonated with me. So I had to go into you know, my warrior state of mind. I had to go into doing what really was right for me. And many people would be like, yo, that's kind of extreme. Sometimes it is, man. That's how you really find what you meant to do. And now here I am. So like I said, I'm gonna offer that unique perspective, man. And you'll be able to watch my journey. Um, did you have any more questions, bro? Or do you want me to give my closing?
Yes. So look, man, I'll be honest with you. Like, in these sort of settings, we can talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. But I'll be frank, my audience, I've given them enough. We've given them enough.
Hell yeah.
So if you do have some closing statements, please provide those, and
Okay.
we'll move forward.
Yeah. So um I am Kelzthagreat. You can follow me on Instagram at Kelzthagreat. That's KelzThagreat. You could find me on YouTube, same name, Kels the Great. If you are looking to get into cryptocurrency and learn this thing the right way, no gimmicks. I'm not over here looking for y'all. I'm simply throwing this out here. If you want to get put on the proper way, you can go onto my YouTube and you can pick up some free game, or I like to say science, some free science. Okay, for those people that may not have the funds yet, you can go and get familiar with this space just off of what I'm sharing on YouTube. Particularly, my first 3 videos are all about the beginner steps, and that's going to give you information to be able to go and research on your own. But I'm giving you literally every single thing that you need to know before you step into this space. So you'll have a nice foundation to work off of on your own. If you do want extra attention, um, you want to be able to skip a lot of, the funk out here or the pollution out here, and you want to be confident in what you're doing, there are things that I only teach in a private setting because um, we see what happens to our teachers when they are fully transparent on these type of platforms. You feel me? And I plan on living a long existence. All right. So certain things I can only tell you in a private setting, and that's where my classes are very valuable. Um, so you can find all that information on my Instagram or my YouTube. I always post my different links to my different social medias and my website. My Twitter is Kelzthagreat 333. And J Flow, man, it's been a pleasure. I appreciate you having me on your platform. Once again, I appreciate what you're doing for the community. And I don't want to see you stop, bro. Stay consistent. Let's hold each other accountable. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna catch these levels together. And I'm definitely willing to come back on your platform and, you know, have a whole other conversation, wherever you want to take it. But I'll be
Absolutely.
down.
No, man, thank you so much, man, for spending your valuable time this evening with me, building, connecting. It's truly one of life's greatest gifts to be able to sit down with a fellow uh, human that believes in the power of knowledge of self, doing for self, and also uh, with an idea to transform society for the better. So, hey, brother, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. You already know I'm a message away. Uh, God bless, man, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your night, brother.
Peace and love. Peace and love.
For sure. Peace, bro. So stop recording.